to listen to me before. How about you? Especially in times of trouble when it didn't seem that he was listening, the need becomes more intense, and the lack of attention from the Lord becomes louder. Silence grows louder. David says, please don't do that. Please hear me when I'm praying, when it's time for me to pray. Please hear what I've got to say, Lord. I need you to hear what I've got to say. Hear the voice of my supplications when I cry unto thee, when I lift up my hands toward thy holy oracle. Draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief in their hearts. He says, first of all, hear what I've got to say. Second of all, don't let me be sucked into any kind of bad behavior. I think that's probably a good prayer for most of us, but especially for the young folks that are having a hard time deciding, or perhaps don't even think about it. It just happens, getting sucked into and being influenced by the wrong crowd. People that would influence you to do things that you probably wouldn't do on your own, things that you wouldn't think to do on your own, probably wouldn't yield to the temptation if there wasn't a whole lot of people doing the same thing all at the same time, putting pressure on you. David said, that's a real danger for me. I feel it in myself. Don't let me go down the path that others are going down. You've kept me safe this far. You've kept me from misbehaving this far. Continue to protect me from myself, which is a prayer that I pray constantly. Lord, protect me from myself. I'm not smart enough. I'm not wise enough. I don't know what to do half the time. I don't know who to talk to and what to say. You'll just have to protect me from myself. Prevent me from doing things that could cause irrevocable harm to myself, my family, my reputation, those around me that I love and that love me. Please just protect me. Put a hedge, put a bridle on my mouth, put a direction in my mind, put peace in my heart, put people around me that won't influence me to do evil because I'm too weak to resist temptation. I've proven it over and over and over again. Lord, just do it for me, because it seems that I've got a long track record of not being able to do it. And of course, sometimes, isn't that what David is praying that the Lord would hear him say? I pray, Lord, that you've heard what I just said. Please don't let me go down with those that work iniquity. They speak peace with their neighbor, but mischief is in their hearts. You've met people like that before, haven't you? Duplicitous people. People that will smile in your face, but they're out to do you harm when you're not looking. People that are not good people. I'd like to think everybody's good, but I don't think that they are. I think that there are some really, really bad people out there that really, really will do you and me a lot of harm if they could get away with it. David's saying he's identifying the type of people he wants to stay away from. These are the type of people that are the most dangerous. I remember when Brother Robert joined the church. He's not here this morning, so I don't think I'll embarrass him. And he hates technology, so he's not watching right now. I know that. If you want to talk to Brother Robert, you better go see him. Don't even call him on the phone. But he one time told me, he said, if I disagree with you, Brother John, he said, I'm not going to go talk to everybody else about what our disagreement is. I'm going to tell you straight out to your face. We're going to look each other in the eye, and I'm going to tell you what I think about it. I said, good. That's fantastic. You mean I don't have to worry about you doing some kind of circumnavigation and trying to marshal, like Survivor, where you're trying to get your people on your side and kick me off the island? You mean me and you can just have a conversation man to man, and I don't have to guess what you're thinking, you don't have to guess what I'm thinking, and we can just agree to disagree? He said, that's right. I said, fantastic. Welcome. his introduction to becoming a member at Tired Creek. I think he thought he was going to scare me off. I like that. I like that a lot. Don't tell me one thing and do another. Don't act like my friend and then behave like to my face and then behave like my enemy when I'm not around. These are the most dangerous kinds of people. And David said, protect me from those kinds of people. They would do me a lot of harm. Protect me from people that smile in my face and stab me in my back. I think it's a good prayer. And hear what I've got to say. Give them according to their deeds and according to the wickedness of their endeavors. Give them after the work of their hands. Render to them their desert. You know, we hear a lot about, I made this observation years ago. The Lord tells us to bless them that curse us. He does say that. He says to pray for your enemies. And if your enemy asks of your coat, give him your cloak also. If your enemy asks you to go a mile, go with him twain. If he asks for something to eat, give him something to eat. He said just because he's your enemy doesn't mean you treat him like he is your enemy. That's hard for a lot of people. When the Lord says, pray for your enemies, and then that despitefully use you. The Lord tells us, do good to your enemies and bless them and curse them not. That goes against human nature. That goes against human nature. That is, I got to tell you, human nature is if you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. I'm going to try to hit you back harder than you hit me. If you want to see this on full display, go to any playground in America. I guarantee you there's some little boy out there that's going to be with some other little boy, and they're going to be playing together. And then all of a sudden, the conversation is going to turn quickly. One's going to push the other one, and then the other one that got pushed is going to push the other one back harder. And then they're going to go tussle back and forth, and depending on where you are, could get worse from there. Sometimes it's little girls that do the same thing. I'm telling you, this theory is correct. I have empirical data shows, observational, anecdotal, all of the data that I've got shows that people from a very young age don't like to be slighted. And if they are slighted, they want to get back of some of what they got. So if you punch me in the face, I'm going to try to punch you back in the face. That's just human nature. And Jesus tells us that we have the nature of Christ, and the nature of Christ is that he was holy, harmless, undefiled, and separate from sinners. It's that he was the humble servant of God. And if you've got the Spirit of Christ in you, that Spirit of Christ gives you the power to overcome the spirit of man that's in every child of God and be triumphant over the vindictive, vengeful, spiteful, hateful nature that's in all sinners. It is the nature of peace and kindness and being able to extend mercy. Do you know, if you're praying, one time I told this, and I won't tell you who it was. It's actually a kind of a famous person now. But when he was very young, he was having a problem with someone who's picking on him. And I said, I want you to go home. This is what I want you to do. I want you to go home and I want you to start praying for that young man. And he said, what? I said, you start praying that the Lord will bless him because he's obviously got some problems. If he's picking on you, he's got bigger problems than you. And that's just a symptom. You need to go pray because something's going bad wrong in that boy's life, and it's just poking out over here, and you're a big old target, and so he's taking out his frustrations on you. That's all that's happening. I want you to go pray for him for a week. He said, well, I want to hit him. I said, I know you want to hit him. He said, and if I hit him, you know I'm going to destroy him. I said, I know that. I know that. But it also comes with a high price tag, young man. You'll probably get kicked out of school. You're looking at a whole lot of trouble that you don't want to get into. And is he worth it? He said, no, he's not. I said, well, then go home and pray for him for a week. So he came back after a week. I said, did it work? He said, it's hard to be mad at somebody you're praying for. I said, it sure is. He said, I really kind of feel sorry for him now. I said, it did work, didn't it? If you're praying for someone that's trying to do you harm, you ascend to a level that's above where they are. And you're able to see them in a very different light as someone who probably needs your mercy and compassion and restraint. The greatest example that I know about this. Now, we know that David has real enemies. Saul is chief among them. We know that that's an individual enemy. We know that the Philistines, as an entire country, hated David. He was the most hated man in the country of Philistina? I don't know. The land of the Philistines. So he's got some real problems. I'm going to take you through 1 Samuel chapters 20, I can't remember if it's 24 or 23. I think it's 24. 24, 25, and 26. I'd encourage you, it's long. I would encourage you to go home and read it with the context of what the point that I'm trying to make to you this morning. And before I do that, I'm going to read from the book of Romans, chapter 12. And this is for everybody that's got somebody that doesn't like them and is trying to do them harm. Perhaps smiling in their face and then at the same time stabbing them in the back. This is for everyone who has someone who won't leave them alone and you're wondering how to get them back. Romans chapter 12. Listen to this. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if your enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. And in doing so, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. That section of Romans chapter 12, if you're reading it too fast, it twists and turns. He says, avenge not yourselves, rather give place unto wrath. Now, what in the world does that mean? He says, avenge not yourself, but rather give room for wrath. That's what give place to wrath means. It means give it plenty of room. Well, if I'm not going to avenge myself, then how in the world how could you even say that in the same sentence? Avenge not yourselves, give place unto wrath, because of what he says next. For he hath said, as it is written, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and I will repay. What that means is vengeance belongs to him. He owns it. He's the arbiter of it. He is the executioner of it. And if vengeance is necessary, he will make sure that it happens. It's not a maybe. It's not a might. It's an absolute certainty that if vengeance needs to take place, he's the one to judge that first of all. If it even needs to take place, you might get it wrong. He's never going to get it wrong. First of all, he's always right about that. He always knows when vengeance needs to take place. Second of all, he knows exactly how much heat to turn up and when to turn it off. And third of all, he knows exactly when and where to apply it. The Lord's vengeance is perfect. You couldn't even get close to paying somebody back for all of the evil that they've done or the perceived evil that they've done. You can't even understand all of the wickedness that's in their heart and in their mind towards you. You're probably going to come up short. No matter what you do to them, you're going to come up way short of what should have happened to them. Not the Lord. He's never going to come up short, and he's never going to go too far. There's always going to be a perfect level of vengeance executed on those that deserve it, or those that he decides deserve it. You might decide somebody deserves it. I've often said this about myself. I'm glad I'm not the Lord, because there would be very few living people left in this world. I mean, people make me mad all the time. It's just poof, gone. See you later. Aren't y'all glad I'm not the Lord? Y'all don't know it, but you've all made me mad. I'm kidding. The Lord's vengeance is perfect justice. The Lord's vengeance is perfect wrath. That's what he means. He means get out of the way. If you're trying to pay somebody back, you're just in the way. You're not even halfway doing a good job. Get out of the way. Let the Lord do what the Lord said belongs to him. And in the meantime, while you trust the Lord to do his job, you just keep on doing good to them that hate you. My mother's she's so good at this, it's not even funny. She makes people so mad because if somebody's angry with her and trying to make her upset, aren't you sweet? I love you so much. What can I do for you? Can I bring you some baked goods? How about that? You know what? Let's pray together. Oh, it makes people, I've seen her do it. It makes people upset. You're heaping coals of fire on their head. That's what he's saying. While you let the Lord do his work, then your job is just to bless them that curse you, do good to them that do evil to you. And in doing so, you shall heap coals of fire on their head. You just keep a smile on your face. You keep doing the right thing. You don't overcome evil with evil. You overcome evil with good. You keep on behaving yourself. You keep on doing the right thing. You keep on doing good things. And pretty soon, in the court of public opinion, you've seen it and I've seen it. Somebody's picking on somebody who will not retaliate. They just won't do it. After a while, everybody in the situation starts to look at the person that's going after the innocent. What are you talking about? They've never done anything to you. Why don't you leave them alone? Then people start taking up for the person that's being picked on. I've seen it over and over and over again. However, you take matters into your own hands, well, he got as good as he gave, you know. He got beat up by the bully. Well, you know, he did start the altercation, so I guess, you know, all things are equal. He says, you just trust the Lord. So here's what David does. Here's a man by the name of Saul. I've rehearsed this to you many times, but I want to take you through these 3 chapters in the time that we've got left and show you a real example of someone who trusts the Lord, gives place unto wrath, and does good to them that curse you. And to see what the results are. See if the Lord's good to his word or not. David is, he goes down to a stronghold, to a cave. He's in the cave and he's going to bed. And in the meantime, while he is camped out in this cave, about to go to sleep, Saul has heard, his enemy has heard that he's in the vicinity. He doesn't know where he is at. Apparently, this cave is a pretty good place to stay, because that night, after David's and his men have already bedded down, they've put their fires out, and there's no more light coming out of the cave, Saul happens up on the cave with his men, and by the way, he's got 3,000 of them. He is pursuing David. David has a force of 600 people, and Saul decides, let's meet force with force. He's got 600, I'm bringing 3,000. And it says that they were choice men. That means that these were the best of the best. This is the special forces. These are not the run-of-the-mill logistics guys that are pushing papers. These are real hardened, battled men. 3,000 of them going after David's 600. David's asleep with his men in the cave. Saul happens up on the cave with his men, decides this is a good place to stay for the night, goes in and lays down in the cave. David's men hear all the commotion. They stay silent. They don't say anything. And one of them crawls over to David and says, "Hey, David, your enemy Saul, who tried to spike you to the wall twice with a javelin, let me remind you, who has been chasing us for the last 5 years, he's asleep 30 feet away from you. Please, please kill him. Let this be over tonight. This is the opportunity. The Lord has delivered him into your hands. It's so obvious. Please slit his throat. Stab his eyes out. Do something. I'm tired of," you can just hear the desperation in the man's voice. "I'm tired of running. Can we just kill him now? If you don't kill him, let me. Somebody kill him. He's right there." David says, No. That's the Lord's anointed. You don't understand what you're talking about. The Lord anointed him king. You're not to touch the Lord's anointed. You're not to do harm to one of his servants. And although I don't understand it, Saul was anointed by the Lord. I don't understand why he's mad at me, but he was anointed king by the Lord. We're not going to touch him. And so instead, he cuts off a piece of his garment. And they sneak out of the cave. And then, nope, I got that wrong. They stay in the cave. That night, or the next morning, Saul's men leave the cave and they're going on their journey. David's men come out behind them. And David says, "Hey, Saul," calls after him. Saul turns around. He says, he's holding a piece of, it'd be like you cutting off the back of this suit and holding it up to me. It's a very unique suit, so I know it's mine. He holds it up and says, "Listen, I love you. I don't know why you're chasing me, and I don't know what I've done to deserve your vengeance, but I could have killed you last night, and I'm proving it because I cut off a piece of your garment. If I could get close enough to cut off a piece of your suit, don't you understand? I could have really killed you last night. I could have murdered you in your sleep, and there would not have been a thing you could do about it. Please leave me alone. Stop chasing me around. Stop trying to kill me. At any time, I can kill you, and I'm choosing not to." Do you imagine the amount of restraint that took? Here's a little boy who's killed a bear and a lion with his bare hands, and he killed Goliath with a sling and a stone, and he's killed thousands and thousands of Philistines with a sword, and he's got a man who's trying to kill him at his feet, and all he's got to do is wave his hand, and it's over. And he decides, no, I don't understand this whole operation. I'm going to let the Lord take care of this. This is not my business. He understood vengeance was the Lord's. It wasn't his. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, maybe not at all. In the next chapter, David is going along with his men, traveling through the country. He hears that this man by the name of Nabal, I love this narrative. You should really read this for yourself. It's so sweet. It gets a little hairy. It's a little dangerous at a point. Nabal, the Bible says, is a churlish man. Churlish. Simply means he's a jerk. We all know people like that. You just can't stand to be around them. Because they're, I don't know, they're off-putting. Nabal is off-putting. And not only is he off-putting, he's extremely rich. And he's got a trophy wife. The Bible says he's married to a woman by the name of Abigail. You got the picture in your mind? You know who you're thinking of? I know who I'm thinking of. He's just, he's one of those kind of guys, and he seems to have it all at the same time. He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of servants. He's got a lot of people that work for him. He's got a beautiful young wife. Why on earth does the Lord, it's just, of all people. And David is traveling through the country, and he hears that Nabal is having a feast because he's shearing his sheep. So at a sheep shearing, what happens is they'd all camp out. All the people that are doing the sheep shearing to get the wool to make garments out of, they'd all camp out together. It'd be a big party, almost a festival celebration if you had thousands of sheep and a couple of 10 or 20 men out there doing the shearing. And there'd be a couple of days. They're just, because it's like, that's the time you make your money. And so it's harvest time, and we're having a big old time, and there's wine flowing, and they've killed a bunch of beasts, and they're going to feed each other and just have a big old time. And David thinks to himself, this is perfect. I'm traveling through this country, and my men need to eat, and we don't have any food, and they're going to have an abundance of food because they're having a party up on the mountain. I tell you what, you guys go over and tell Nabal that we're coming through and that we would really appreciate if they would accommodate us. Middle Eastern hospitality says you must do that. Nabal sends word back, and this is what he says. Many servants break away from their masters these days. I'm not going to take food out of my men's mouth to feed a rebellious servant. David is the servant of Saul, and he should go home and serve Saul. I told you he was not a nice man. He says, I'm not giving you anything to eat. And by the way, you don't even belong here. David needs to go on back home where he belongs. Don't come at me with that. Get out of here. So the servants come back and tell David what Nabal said. And here's where it almost ended for David. David tells his 600 men, put your swords on. And David starts to buckle his sword on. And then he says, we're going up to the mountain where Nabal is, and when we get up there, we're killing everything that can stand on its own 2 feet. So if he didn't want to give us something to eat, we're going to take it. And not only are we going to take what we want, we're going to take all of their lives. We're going to take his wife's life. We're going to take his life. We're going to take all their kids' lives. We're going to take every person that can stand on their own 2 feet. We're going to kill them all. He's a little upset. He's a little angry. In other words, he's going to take vengeance. How dare you speak to me that way? Do you know who I am? I'm David. Don't you know what I can do to you? I asked nicely. And now you've turned down my request. Well, now you're going to find out that I'm not such a nice person. And you're going to see a side of David that you've never seen before. So let's go, men. Let's go kill them all. And he would have. The evidence is if he would have made it to the top of that mountain, everybody up to the top of that mountain would have died. By the way, they're all feasting and drunk anyway. They were in no position to fight. And David and his men are primed to fight. Sweet Abigail, the wife of Nabal, hears what David's plan is. She quickly makes a feast, kills a couple of animals, makes about, I think it was 200 cakes of figs, brings a bunch of water, and meets David in the road. She falls down in front of him and she says, listen, you are going to be the king one day. We've heard about you. The Lord's with you, and you're a good man, and you've done a lot of good things for Israel. And I don't know why Saul is pursuing you. That's a whole other story. But we've even heard that you won't even kill Saul. Your judgment is perfect. You've got a perfect record. If you go kill my husband, I know my husband's churlish. I'm married to him. He is a terrible person. I know who my husband is. But please, if you kill him, when you are the king, this will be a stain on your record. You will never be able to hide from this massacre. It's going to follow you around it's going to be an albatross around your neck. Please don't do this for your own reputation's sake, for your own standing with God's sake. I'm praying you. Please, listen, I've fed you. You got what you want. It's not because she loves her husband. She actually is making a lot of sense. She's saying, this is going to be bad. This will be, it's too expensive for you. It's like what I told that young man. Is Nabal really worth it? Because this is going to follow you for the rest of your life if you go up because it's just murder at this point. You're just going to go murder a bunch of people. Is a massacre really worth it? He's nobody. Why are you even worried about him? You got your food. And David calms down. She's right. He says, okay, you're right. She says, listen, when you are the king, just remember me. Be kind to me and my family. He says, you got it. No problem. And they turn around and they go back the way they came. Abigail goes back to Nabal. Nabal's drunk that night, so she doesn't tell him about it. She waits till he wakes up in the morning. He sobers up, and she says, hey, I don't want to be too foolish up here in the pulpit, but hey, knucklehead, you don't realize how close you came to dying last night. I'm the only reason you're alive. I met David out in the road. He's about a half a mile from here with 600 men, and they all had swords, and they were coming to kill you and everybody up here at this feast. And I pleaded for your life. So the implication is, so please stop being mean to me. Be a little nicer to me. I saved your life last night, and you didn't even know it. You were up here getting drunk while I was down there saving your life. And the Bible says that Nabal turned to stone, and his heart died within him. He had a stroke. He drank too much, so he had a stroke. He has a stroke, and 10 days later he dies. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and I will repay. David didn't have to lay a finger on Nabal. And Nabal got what was coming to him because the Lord made sure of it. Not only that, but David marries Abigail. Isn't that nice? I love that. The very next chapter, Saul hears that David is back in this territory. He takes a couple of thousand men. They follow him down. Saul's asleep in the ditch. Abner, the captain of David's host, and this other guy whose name I can't pronounce, they crawl up in the middle of the night. They crawl up and surround Saul. He's sleeping in a ditch. And they're whispering to each other, and you can just hear them. You can hear the frustration in their voice. We got him again. He's right there. Please. And his captain says this. Please let me spike his head to the ground with his own spear. I won't have to do it twice. It'll just be one time, and then it'll be over. Please let me do this. I'm going to read David's response because I think it's important. They just do not understand. This is so obvious. The Lord has delivered this man into your... We have an opportunity to kill him again. Here's what David said. And David said to Abishai, 1 Samuel 26, verse 9, destroy him not, for who can stretch forth his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? David said, therefore, as the Lord liveth, the Lord shall smite him. Or his day shall come to die, or he shall descend into battle and perish. You know what he's basically saying? He's saying, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. We are not going to get this man back for all the evil he's done to us. We're just not going to do it. And they took his spear and his little carrying case and his water. And the next morning, the same thing. Hey, we got your spear. We were close enough to you to get your weapon and your water and all your provisions. We could have killed you again last night. Would you please just leave us alone? What a lesson in restraint. It's one thing if you want to get somebody back, but you're powerless to do it. It's quite another thing to have somebody doing evil things to you, want to get them back, and to rest in the knowledge that vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and I will repay. He will do it. Saul's life ended the same way Nabal's life ended. On the top of a mountain, lost his mind, basically went insane with jealous rage, and at the end of his life, he's surrounded by his enemies of his own making, And he tells his servant to stab him because he cannot face the prospect of killing himself. And that's what happened. Falls on his own sword, and he dies. And of course, David ascends to be the king of Israel. Now, none of you are going to ascend to the throne to be the king of Israel. It's not what I'm saying. But that's what happened in David's life. He refused. He simply refused. He would not do it. Although he wanted to with Nabal, he wanted to bad. But he refused to take matters into his own hands. He trusted the Lord at his word. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and I will repay. And he left it at that. And therefore, we don't remember David as David the murderer. We don't remember David as the bloodthirsty king who couldn't help himself from massacring people who slighted him or did bad things to him. We remember David as the sweet psalmist of Israel, as the apple of God's eye, as a man after God's own heart, after the greatest king that ever lived. I wouldn't say the greatest Israeli king. I'd say he's probably the greatest king that ever lived. He outstrips his son Solomon by a mile. Solomon probably the second best. But David is the greatest king he's the greatest leader, greatest king, and a Christ-like example for us to follow because he simply wouldn't take matters into his own hand and become petty. And it's a great lesson for all of us. And because we should always end a sermon with Jesus, should always start and finish with Jesus. Jesus on the cross, who had the power of vengeance and could have killed everybody that ever tried to put a finger on him, instead does exactly what he's commanded us to do. Bless them that curse you. Pray for your enemies. Do good unto them that do evil unto you. They passed by the foot of his cross, cursing him and blaspheming him, and instead of taking his vengeance on them, he prays for them. It says, Father, it's some of the last words of Christ on earth is a prayer for his enemies. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I'm glad Christ prayed that prayer. That probably applies to all of us, don't you think? And at times, we probably deserved vengeance. The Lord knew that we needed mercy instead of vengeance and kept us from getting what we deserved, and thank God for it. We should extend the same kindness and the same mercy to our fellows, at least our friends, and maybe even our enemies. I didn't intend to go down that road this morning, but that seems to be the road that the Lord led us. So I hope that it's been a blessing to some of you. I hope it's been a good lesson. It's been a good lesson for me. God bless you is my prayer. If there be one or more that would like to join this church, you come while we sing Amazing Grace. Stand while we sing. Amazing grace, how sweet